How's it? Otherwise you well. My name is Nina Hastie. This is a comics approach to wellness. It is not a mental health solution. It is not a therapy session. This is just a display of what a conversation between two people can look like in a search for self. This is our first episode of the new season. We're at Stream In Studios, and I have an old friend of mine here tonight. The season is made up of some very interesting people that I feel you'd find some value in seeing what a conversation between the two of us can look like. We're going to do some personality tests. We'll run the wheel of feels and see which one we land on. And maybe just get into a little bit of their stuff. The one and only STOGIE Tumi Molokane, Tumi from the volume. We'll get into that. We'll get into that now. Tumi. STOGIE, everyone.
What's good, man?
Should we tell the story right up front?
Go ahead. I don't know why you keep repeating it.
It's because it's hilarious. It's the best story, and I just seem like such an idiot for it. Like it makes me look stupid, but I'm willing to be the butt of the joke for this thing. Okay, so when did we meet?
You were in high school? Were you in high school? Was it high school?
I was about 18.
Okay, so
I think I just finished when I was dating that guy.
Yes.
Okay.
When you were dating, and so I was friends with them,
right?
With his clique.
Yeah.
I was actually we were kind of becoming friends.
Right.
It was kind of a hip-hop
so
thing.
you were new to that clique
thing
as well.
They had asked me to come to an event that they were performing at, and it was something.
Can you hear the gunshots?
There we go.
Gunshots.
There we go. So they were performing at a high school like pageant thing.
Wow.
So yeah. And then you were there, and unless I met you outside a venue, I don't remember, but I distinctly remember the encounter. I definitely remember, because I was like,
who's this random white woman?
Are you even allowed outside?
Like that? I look really young.
You're tiny. You're like, just like, and you were like, yo, I want to be down. I want to know everything. I want to, you know.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, you didn't like. I didn't come to you. You were like, yo, so what's up? So, right? And I was like, yo, chill out.
I was not medicated yet, so I mean, yeah.
So then I said to you that I'm Tumi.
No, but this came later.
Oh,
okay. This came later.
Okay.
So were you rapping? Okay, so this is. I mean, I was like 18 and just discovered hip hop, and I was like, oh, finally. I mean, this is Pretoria, guys. This is Pretoria in 2002. 2002, and I had just discovered my tribe of people, because I was quite a weirdo in Pretoria. You must imagine how strange that was. Just democracy was like 7 years old.
Super young.
Excuse me. Democracy was like 7 years old, and we were part of this integrated post-apartheid community in Pretoria, and I was like, wow. People that listen to the same shit that I listen to. Okay, I'm not alone on this planet. I felt like an alien in Pretoria. Yeah. So when I met you guys, because they were at the Glen, I was at Willow Ridge, and you were.
I was Manor, but I was out by then.
Okay.
But I'm a Manor boy.
Manor boy.
I know.
My dad, who I was just on the phone with, matriculated at Manor.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, that must have been a different school from when I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I'm happy you kind of give like a bit more context to like what was happening socially,
right? Because
it was, like, I think that's the biggest thing I take away from hip hop, is that I feel like it's the one place, it felt like, at least for me, the one place where, we are all oddballs.
Yeah,
we are all oddballs.
Yeah.
Like, even think about even the guys from like, and I'm now thinking about in the deep of like the club, or like these places, these hubs of like SA hip hop was kind of burgeoning. Even the guys from like the hood were outsiders in the hood.
Right.
They, you know what I mean? They were like cheese boys, or they were like, you know what I mean? They weren't quite fully, you know what I mean?
From that space. Yeah, because we would go because there was no streaming services. There were no anything. You had to go to listen to the music that you wanted to listen to. You would have to go to listen to the person who had that record.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're like, I wanted to listen to the New Slum Village. There were only like two people who had that record. You know?
Yeah.
So what was that? What was the hip hop club in Pretoria?
Club At. Yeah. Yeah. So I had I think that part of our engagement was I looked down on Pretoria.
Oh, we all did. What, do you think I'm out here like, yeah? Listen, respectfully, Pretoria is like going through a renaissance, I'm like, okay, Pretoria, I see you. No, but at the time, it was very shameful to be from there.
Yeah, I always say like Pretoria was like 2 or 3 years behind Johannesburg, and I'm not talking. I'm talking like the culture edge things. You know what I mean? And
2 or 3. Bro, much more, like 15.
You know, so as someone who was exposed to like Joburg's, like the scene, Amo, there's Bionic, there's this, you know what I mean? To be in like Littleton and to be in like Semi-Mark Square. And be like,
okay, fine. You're like, you're dealing with Mischief and
exactly, heavy
and Proverb, Selwyn, Cashless Society,
and then some guys telling me about Will Smith. You know what I mean?
Fine.
Like, and I'm like,
fine.
So I used to just have a thing about. So even our interaction was like, whatever.
Who's this random white woman who thinks she knows anything about? She's listened to one Lauryn Hill album and thinks that she can rap.
Right. So that was my, my attitude about it, and it was like, elitist, but kind of, like
you're just a snob though.
No,
you're such a snob.
You know what? I'll say that in quiet spaces, but hoping people understand it to mean I have standards.
Not just standards. I think that you're a connoisseur. You're well traveled. You've been all around the world. You've traveled with your craft all over the world. You grew up overseas. So when did you come back to South Africa?
91, 92.
91, 92. Okay, so like your formative years as a baby, as a human being, is where? Canada.
No, so I was born in Tanzania.
For real?
You didn't know this?
I did not know this.
What do you mean? The first point of attack for everyone is this kwere.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I mean, not really, no. But it helps to be mulekani and
right.
Yeah, but
okay. So let's just talk about that for a moment because. Okay, well, no, we'll get to the point where okay. So Tumi was in this. It was Tumi in the Volume.
Yeah.
Right?
Tumi and the Volume, at the time, It was this band. And
this
it was
band.
Like,
okay, when does this band get formed?
The band gets formed like around 2002.
Okay, so it was then.
Yeah.
Opikopi, I remember watching you at Opikopi that year. So was that your first year as the band?
Which Opikopi? It was at the Fountains or the in the? Did you ever go to the one in the Fountains?
Yes, I went to all of them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So Opikopi time. So the name was kind of like, okay, Tumi and the Volume, and it's crazy. This is second phase of I won't say fame, but of notoriety, because the first is like in the underground.
Okay. So talk about the underground. I skipped a chapter.
It's not really relevant too much to this, but I think the name kind of, that's why they knew. Your people knew who I was. It's because of the underground. But then by that time, it was already like a band thing happening, and it was like that was a bit more national.
So. What was that place in Melville that you guys used to perform at? Baseline.
Yeah, Baseline. When it was still a club.
When it was still a little club.
Yeah.
And you guys would do me and this band who on the other side were 340 Mil.
340 Mil, yeah. Part of it was 340 Mil. Tiago, who was the guitarist, and Paolo was the drummer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had obviously their own vocalist, Pedro, and their bass player. So we're kind of like sharing this thing, which is very interesting and, a talking point. But more than anything, it was just part of that thing, which is an extension of what you were experiencing from high school, is this emergence of this country that's kind of like, hey, we have created all these weird creatures now who are like, you know,
post-apartheid,
exactly,
apocalyptic,
yeah,
fucking like
exactly, exactly,
integrated. So we bumped into each other the other day at our local
yeah, coffee,
shopping
yeah.
coffee spot shopping center thing, and we were talking about that generation, the first wave of integrated, sort of the integrated racial society.
Yeah,
And
class, all of it.
yeah, class. Yes, exactly. So we were like middle class, Model C. We were
Yeah.
the Model C kids.
Yeah.
You know?
And I crucially, I think you know how they like saying you're code switching.
Yeah.
Like the first wave of like where we can choose. We can choose who we want to be. You feel me? So you can literally exactly.
Ooh, that's wow.
Exactly.
The freedom of choice.
Exactly. And I mean that in everything. Where you go, okay, I'm from the hood, but I'm going to be not from the hood. You know what I mean? I'm going to be not from the hood. I'm actually like this, but I'm going to represent the hood. But you are not really okay.
You're from Princeton.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that. And kind of self-invention and self-create, and in that, I mean, how do you describe Isaac Chokwe? What is Isaac Chokwe? What is that?
In fact, we need to get him here. Isaac Chokwe, but also he was living in the future.
Yeah,
Isaac is an alien, like, but one of the most interesting, phenomenal, deep aliens. Isaac, I remember him championing a rap battle, and I was battling Snaz.
Wow, you were not battling.
I was battling Snaz, and I was like, whatever, Snaz the dick taster.
His name was Snaz the Dictator. So that's pretty. That's pretty dope.
Thank you. That's the only line, and then I still got burnt. I got knocked out. That was at the yard when they were doing those.
You could do a whole series about your lives.
Yes, the lives, the tangents. Anyway,
crazy. So I related to you with regard to that, and I'm talking about now later. I had a lot of like a big affinity for what you were doing and because it all to me just looked like. It just looked like a journey of self-discovery, and
did it?
Yes, I mean it was messy, it was confused, in its peaks and valleys, right? In its peaks, it looked like, wow, this person is so confident. I wish I had this confidence. I wish people can, you know what I mean? And it inspires that kind of like, I want my kids to be that confident to walk in a room and be like, yo, fully present in a room. And in its valleys, it was like, my Lord, get away from me.
When my hair fell out and I got the head tattoo.
No, there was a time you walked into the studio, and you're telling me about this weird character that you're trying to create.
The Albine Regine.
I'm like, oh my Lord.
The Albine Regine.
In my mind, I'm like, oh man, I hope this thing like fully forms and it's like really, because remember, I'm again, from the context of like, yo, there's something happening in here in this place where everyone is kind of inventing themselves and everyone is kind of creating themselves, and I didn't care so much for success. Even with everyone, I didn't care so much for success, in the way people see it as like, oh, this person's now a world global superstar. I just wanted it to be fully formed. So the unvote
yes.
could fail, but I was like, I'd be happy for him that he finally found something that he formed.
Because we also watched those journeys. We watched Max Normal. We watched Constructors. We watched all of those things.
So to see it and be like, wow, he actually he synthesized the idea and he fully formed it.
Yeah.
I don't care whether it fails or not. To me, I'm like, I just love the idea that like you created it and it was formed, and that's what. So when I critique or when I shine light on something, it's either for it to have an opportunity to be fully formed, or to look at the fully formed thing and say, now let's deconstruct this and look at how it got here. This is beautiful. We must all aspire to be fully formed.
To be, okay, this is, so the privilege of getting to the end of a story of a fully formed thing. As an ADHD person, like my life has been so many tangents that I didn't get to fully form these things. So that I had this subversive counterculture parody of these artists that like performance artists that go like Marina Abramovich kind of stuff. So that's what Albine Vagine was meant to be, and that she was supposed to like wear hooves and like. Then later, Says Vidila did that video, and that was literally the creative. I was like, wow, that's so crazy. Because now when I see her, I'm like, she's very much what Albine would have been. Gotcha. And like even visually, I was like, the voyeuristic stuff, I was like, this woman has obviously shared my psyche, because this is, if I look at the sketches, if I look at the creative, that's exactly the kind of thing. It's so crazy. Anyway, but Tumi and the volume, so when after Tumi had like, garnered some notoriety at the hip hop spaces, STOGIE, whatever, and had now formed this like band, and they play and we go and watch the band. You guys became a bit of a cult,
a little bit, yeah.
And then we at some point had this corporate gig where we were a bunch of rappers as a rap crew for MTN. Do you remember the MTN Free to Speak crew? It was so bad. Well, I was bad. You were great. There was about 10 of us. It was like
it was all bad,
and it was all crazy. It was like you, Emphatic Tabs, me, Breeze, Lethal, who has 3 kids, by the way. She's in Cape Town. I just saw her now. Wow. She's married. Like crazy.
Congrats.
Notando Ndox.
Yes, who's now? Do you know what she is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she was like the head of Samro. She's like
crazy.
A crazy lawyer.
She's a crazy lawyer. Now she's working with Java.
There we go.
Yeah. Who else was in the crew?
Yeah, a bunch of people. It was
anyway. So it was a crazy thing. It was a bunch of all these like rappers, and
we were there for the money. We were definitely there for the money. I mean, some were there for like, oh man, this is great. We get to do our craft. I'm definitely trying to do emphatic, but there was
ecstatic, enigmatic.
but it was a nice little challenge of like your skills, but also it was just like it was cool. It was honestly I always said, as long as you're not, I'm not a bricklayer, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a bricklayer, but I'm not bricklaying. I'm like, I'm still rapping. I'm not breaking bread. I'm still rapping.
Yeah, you were still rapping, fine. And you were still good and authentic, and you were like, Nina, please stop rapping. You're terrible. And I was like, this is what you said. You're like, please go and learn more about hip hop and then come back, because you are a terrible rapper. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Did I say go learn more? Like go? Wow.
You were such a dick. No, you were so mean to me. And then, that sounds harsh. But also this is the story we've been trying to tell for 20 minutes. We haven't even gotten to what this show is about. Anyway, the point is, I thought Tumi's surname. I thought your surname was Volume.
Yeah.
And that's what. But I don't know if you told me that, or it was Tumi and the volume. So like, what's your surname? Volume. And I believed that for years you had me going.
Yeah, it sounds silly dumb when we tell the story now, because no one can believe that you'd be that naive, especially you being so like in the culture and knowing. So no one would believe that you'd be that naive.
Yeah.
And it's so corny, and I don't think anyone would believe that I'd say something like that, like volume. But if you actually look at that thing, right, it says a lot about, how maybe the both of us were kind of removed from, like the black culture.
Yes.
Volume, man, come on, that
exactly.
doesn't even make sense. And you know what I mean?
And I bought it.
Yeah.
We were both buying some bullshit. You were selling bullshit, and I was buying it. Like.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's just. last time we're telling that story.
Okay,
ever.
fine. All right, I'll
Yeah,
stop telling
yeah.
that story.
All
I'll
right.
stop telling that story.
So yeah, otherwise you well. What's good?
Okay, let's run the so this is a little catch up. I just felt like people needed a bit of context on our relationship and where we come from. And okay, I want you to spin this wheel of feels, the wheel of feels. So reach across and press that button where the little money key is there.
This one here?
No, that one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what? It lands somewhere.
It's gonna land on somewhere. So okay. Nat Geo Kids.
Okay. National Geographic, I'm assuming.
All right, yeah. So what we're gonna do, the reason I spin this wheel of feels is because we're gonna do some personality quizzes, and this is we're gonna find out which. Okay, just go back up to the top, please. There. Which historical ruler you like? So these are different personality quizzes. So I'm just going to read them to you because in the next season we'll get a screen that's in front of us as well. But we're still early days. Wacht 'n bietjie, hold on.
So which
historical figure do you think you would be?
I'd hope to be Malcolm.
Okay. Now I'm busy typing. Okay.
Just because there is a bit of like a martyr syndrome in but more than anything, I think it's the constant learning. Like the one thing that when that dude started learning, he was outgrowing every phase of his journey. It was like, oh, he's a black Muslim radical. And then he like grows a little and he's like, this thing is weird. I'm actually going to Mecca. And then he goes to Mecca and he's like, these guys are weird, man. What about Africa? And every time, no, America race, I don't know, class. Let's talk about class. So he just kept growing, and I can relate to that.
So exactly. So growing during the people. And this is something that we've spoken about before. Like, you're growing while society's growing, but you're on the front lines of the
cutting edge, Baba, on the
So when you're fucking up, you're fucking up during the people.
Real time.
When you're winning with the people.
Real time.
And when you're showing people new ideas and they've never heard these ideas, even back then, the only way of people truly engaging with that was like by a form of protest or whatever. But now it's like, we can hear people's opinions.
Social,
Yeah, very, very clearly. Yeah. So, yeah. So when people, what I often think about, like when you listen to music and you go, wow, here's this thing that's been captured for the rest of time by some person, because now we're in our 40s, and like if you think about Nirvana, like that music was recorded by like a 25-year-old or a 24-year-old. He died when he was 27. We were, if I were to say to you now, like, are you gonna believe something that a 25-year-old has said as gospel?
Yeah, no. I mean, my favorite Nas album is Illmatic.
Right.
Some of the songs that he wrote as 17-year-old, and I'm like, it's like my son's 17.
That's what I'm saying.
My son is 17. I'm like, yo, imagine that. Like me going, yo, this is one of the philosophers of like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, a different time. I think different. Come on, like you at 25, you at 20,
But this is what I'm saying. So you're out there. You're 25. You're 30. You're 35. You're whatever, and your information is we're living in the zeitgeist together. This is all. My information is what your information is. I might have an opinion or a new way of thinking,
right?
But you've only got whatever is just existed. So like woke culture has just happened. But I was talking about that for a long time prior to that, a long time, writing columns, and then when that happened, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, I'm now negating a lot of the stuff that I said then, because a lot of the stuff that I said then was based on American politics, American critical race theory, stuff like that. Whereas nobody has written a book in this space about social dynamics and re-socialization in a South African context, where South Africans should be assimilating as a minority, even though it's a privileged minority, needs to be assimilating into the majority. And that's interrupted by the conversation of cultural appropriation, which is difficult in this context.
Very difficult in this context. So many things. I mean, it's not a one-to-one correlation. You know, the easy example, like two. One, when South Africans are going on a hashtag, coloreds be like, and then the Americans go,
right.
You can't say that. Or Kyla, you know what I mean? I'm colored. What? What are you doing? Tyler. Wow. Kyla Rose Smith used to play violin in my band.
Right.
And Freshly Ground.
Right.
You know, it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tyler, exactly. Tyler, right? What the heck? You know, it's like, yo, no, I'm
what
colored.
The heck?
I'm colored, you know? Yeah. And, you know, what is this? Oh, dead prez, you know, dead prez. Kill the president. Dead the president. You know, yo, we love dead prez. Dead the president.
Yeah.
Nah, we cool. We cool with Mbeki. Nah, we cool with Zoom. I don't know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's not a one-to-one. So all that stuff, Black Lives Matter, all these things that are kind of like, you know, critical mass, you know, in the zeitgeist. It's like they don't always translate directly to our. I mean, think about it. GNU. GNU is like, okay, it's this. Okay, you know what? For the survival of our society, maybe this is a good marriage. It's like, one, it's these guys who, you know, who represent the majority of the country, and the other ones is these guys who are trying to keep it in order, right? But the one guys, if you talk about Israel, they are on the other side. The one guys are on the other side. If you talk about you know, like nationalization, the ones are, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just it doesn't work one for one. It doesn't work one for one.
There's so many different dynamics that service. I think we're just trying to get to a functioning society.
Okay. This is a trick.
It's a trick.
Catch up, Nicole.
Okay. So you have a super busy weekend planned. How does that make you feel? A little overwhelmed? It's fine. I prefer to stay busy. Excited. I can't wait to see my friends. Okay, but I'd rather be reading a book, or I'll probably skip one or two things, but I'm looking forward to the others.
I'm glad the last one exists. I'll ignore everything.
Yeah.
And go smoke with a friend.
Okay.
And catch up on Monday.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
Weekend is not the same for me. Weekend means nothing to me. Weekend just means the kids are more available, but it means nothing to me. It's
How
like
many
it's
kids
not
have you got? Two. Okay.
Yeah, it means nothing. It means it's not like it's not a different day to like a Wednesday or Thursday.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, which is why we see each other at 11 a.m. getting our first coffee, right? Which fashion statement are you most likely to make? I'm a fan of funny T-shirts. I love wearing layers. I'll wear anything gold. It's all about the sneakers for me. Fashion's not really my thing.
I think before I'd say fashion's not really my thing, but I'm starting to learn that fashion is very much like art. That when people talk about Balenciaga, there's a guy called Cristobal Balenciaga who was a genius, and like, you know, outside of like these things that become a sign of your wealth and you're just kind of flexing and drip, and there's actually this art form that exists of like pleats and forms and shapes.
It's one of the oldest art forms in our civilization.
Absolutely. And so just kind of garnering a new appreciation for that is like, again, it doesn't have to be expressed by me, you know, so I'm not...
Garnering. So this is a daily paper piece. Speaking of Ghana. This is a daily paper two-piece. Hey, listen.
Let's go. Yeah, communicating, of course.
You know, exactly, the combos.
Yeah, so I just, you know, for me it's like, yo, you know, I think where you might be like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, is probably with the kicks. It's probably the only place you'd be able to say, oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, since then, like you were the only person that had Jordans
Yeah.
because you were shopping overseas.
Not just that,
Yeah.
Look, a lot of people were going overseas.
Yeah.
It's
What you buy when you get, yeah. But I think the Jordan 3s were your
yeah,
staple,
threes
right?
and fours, yeah,
The threes and fours,
yeah.
yeah, the 3s and 4s. I could never rock a 3 or a 4. I was I've got to look at how short my little legs are. But so it was either ones,
Yeah,
12s,
12s.
or 11s. That was,
Yeah,
you know, it makes more sense.
It does. 11s are good for you too, because
Yes,
that little patent leather thing makes it
exactly.
a foot long.
Exactly. And I get the low rise because I can buy them in grade size because I'm a children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Size. cheaper.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's all about the sneakers. Which animal BFF would you most likely have? What? A colorful bird, a horse, a black cat, a bunch of dogs, a snake.
Dogs.
Dogs. Okay.
Yeah, I got a pit bull called Ghost. He's all white. Yeah.
Ghost.
Ghost. Yeah, Ghost. But no, he's like that's dogs.
Pit bull.
A pit bull. I've only had pit bulls. Of dogs, yeah, and one at a time, but
I grew up with Rottweilers. I did a video on that. Like Rottweilers is such an 80s dog. Like Rottweilers.
Yeah.
What happened to them? When last did you see a Rottweiler?
My cousin has some, but he lives in the farm, so he needs like some sheep, kind of, shepherding dogs. But no, you don't really or German shepherds, you don't really.
Yeah, but I think the stigma on a German shepherd in South Africa is a little bit hectic. People aren't like out here going, I really would like this apartheid police dog at home.
Yeah, this is this is
there's branding in dogs. There's psychology behind having dogs.
The pit bull, right? Pit bull is like it's a rapper dog. It's like
it is a rapper dog.
It's a rapper dog.
It's who let the dogs out dogs.
Yeah, right. But if you, and this is what I love about things like that, if you really start to study breeds, you understand, no man, there's nothing wrong with this breed. There's people, they are like, and also some dogs are bred for a specific purpose. And this thing is like engineering. It's like, oh, we put a little bit of that personality, this and pit bulls are family dogs. They're really like, they love children. They are amazing. My kids used to pull ears, all this, and people were like, so you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
Okay. Choose a city to visit: Washington D.C., Cairo, Egypt, London, England, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, or I prefer the countryside.
I prefer the countryside. I prefer somewhere deep in the Midlands in KZN.
Okay.
With big long trees. And
those greens that just go.
I love that. And then just on the other side is like a Zulu horde that just might come and wipe you out. I love that. It's just edge.
Okay, all right. Pit bulls. I want to be attacked by like a tribe of angry.
This is my dream. My dream is just to get a beautiful property in KZN somewhere in the hill, and then just like, one day you find out, no, the country's burning. Okay, they're coming. All right, let's have it. Yeah, let's have it. Let's have it. Who want romp with me?
That's funny. Wow. Wild. Okay, I mean, this Nguni hegemony is gonna have you. Okay, yeah. Listen, tribe volume. Every leader needs good advice. Who would you trust if you were in charge? I would have a whole team of experts. I would ask my second in command to weigh in on stuff. I would listen to everyone, but think about my decision for a few days. I'm usually the one giving advice. I don't need advice. Once my mind's made up, I make a move.
A team of advisors. I like what Trump has done. I like what Trump has done around like throughout this whole campaign, we've watched like all these smart people emerge. Tulsi Gabbard, Ramaswamy, Musk, all these like brilliant people who, without the politics, they'd still be brilliant people. They've run companies, they've done, they've served their country. And I like the idea that he's like, yo,
You're hired.
Yeah,
You're
I like that
hired.
idea. It's like and also this thing of like they have no experience. It's like what? But the ones who had, like, look at them. Like, you know what I mean? They're hiding money in couches. They're like doing all these weird things. So maybe we do need a reset. Maybe we do need, like some people who've succeeded in other places. Maybe success does breed success. So maybe.
So do you think that we need someone in government that comes from the private sector? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that.
Are you saying that the advisors need to come from that sort of space?
No, and not private per se, but just like achievement, like real kind of like different ideas, like like people who've who think out of the box, who have the country's interest at heart. I mean, for a long time in Africa, there used to be this thing where, like, they were like, actually, you know what, man, these guys, these heroes of ours have let us down so much. Maybe we should just start voting in rich guys. They won't steal.
Right, but I mean, how did they get rich?
So, the rich guy will come and say, all right, okay, now we really about to get this paper.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but I think, yeah, I think just people with really dope ideas and that are not tethered to an ideology. I think that's always the thing. It's like when you have ideologues, that's where you go wrong. Where you're like, but guy, the evidence shows something different. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't like ideologues.
I had a conversation with this phenomenal woman last night. So first of all, she is the CFO of this organization. It's a global organization. She's the CFO, and then the CEO of this section of the company. So she's the group CFO of a global organization that's 122 years old. So locally, and then the CEO of a certain part of that company here. And she's been with that company for 5 years. So she got a, award of the 5 years of service. And I was like, these aren't just any 5 years. To be the chief financial officer from 2019 to 2024 of an organization that is 122 years old, to be at the financial helm of having lost half of your workforce due to having to make cuts, people literally dying, people working from home, and then, remote working.
Yeah.
And then I said, what was the most challenging part of that? And she said, what humbled her was realizing that in some spaces, people didn't have the privilege of privacy to work at home. So one of her staff members lived in Diepsloot, and the only place she could set up her laptop was literally in the toilet, so that she could have privacy to be in a Zoom call and in a meeting. So, there's so much economic disparity and all of those kinds of things that you're managing across the board in an organization. Yeah. And I asked her, like, what's your trick? What's your thing? Like, how did you do it? And she said exactly what you're saying. And she's like, leaning into as many people as possible. But I said, what really makes your job beautiful? She said, I said, do you travel with your same team? So when you get to a new organization, do you just hire people that you've mentored? And she said, no. She likes coming into a new space because people understand that company culture, and she likes to leave a place better than what she found it. And I was just like, wow. I was just in awe of this woman. Like, powerful. That's so much power, so much interest. So, I mean, if we were to go like Minister of Finance, I'm like, hey man, I'm putting this person forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, this is a good one. What are your public speaking skills? Shit. I'm kidding. I can write a good and give speech if someone helps me write it. I can deliver a great speech. Oh, okay. I don't love speaking in front of a crowd, but I'm actually pretty awesome at it. I'm a better writer than speaker. I'm okay, but I'd rather be doing more exciting things. Okay, let's get this answer out the way, and then I want to ask you a question.
When I'm in church, everyone just imagines, okay, this guy's going to be the one to be on stage. I want to be the usher. I want to help with the other things. I want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that thing because I associate it too much with deception.
Ooh, the masks we all wear.
And I don't want to do that in church.
Yeah. There's so many layers to what you just said. Okay, so let's let's talk about, because that's what this is about, right? Okay. This is a journey of self-awareness. We talk about deception. We talk about these characters that we build.
Yeah.
Tumi in the volume. STOGIE T. Yeah. STOGIE T is this new iteration. When was STOGIE T born?
It was born before it was STOGIE T. It was like this thing that I used to do. It's like, okay, all right, okay, we've done the thing. Now we chilling. I'm cigar. I'm like, and it became a Sasha Fierce of sorts.
Right.
And, but I also realized at the same time, I kind of realized, man, I have no use for this Tumi and the volume thing. I have no use for this other thing, this thing that, because it's constrained. People don't want me to do other things. They don't want me to be.
They don't want you to win. They don't want you to win.
Nah, I'm kidding. They just want. They don't want me to paint other paintings. They don't want other things. They just want this one thing. And when I do other things, they say that's not Tumi. So I'm like, actually, you know what? You're right.
Yes. Okay, that is not Tumi. Let me show you something else.
Yeah, keep that Tumi. There's there in the museum, in the CDs. Go get it in your, collecting dust in your racks. Let's move on now. So it just allowed me, it's a vehicle. It allowed me to do a lot more stuff. Like now I can literally now I can write a song about 76 and so call it STOGIE and people are fine. I can write a song about bad bitches and call it STOGIE and they're fine. So I've just literally widened the aperture.
Okay. Ooh.
You know, it's a whore when the white girl say
Vele, like for real. That's ironically that's not my mother's tongue.
I know.
Like growing up, you know what pisses me the most off is my family spoke English to me at home. So I never learned my mother's tongue. And on the span of languages to learn from as an English speaker, the level of difficulty to learn other languages, because you know that I'm constantly learning languages, but I'm just at like basic level with like 5 languages. Gotcha. So I just need to re-up. So I'm kind of like learn everything at the same time. Then I go, okay, this means this in this language. This means this. But Korean is like 14th on there. The most difficult language for an English-speaking speaker to learn is Hungarian.
No way.
And second is Serbian.
No way.
Second difficult language is Serbian. Bro, there's no vowels in that language. It's just like zdravo, SDR, and then only do you get to the zdravo means hi. Zdravo.
Bang.
Zdravo. You know?
That sound like some Dracula shit, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It is some Dracula shit. Like where's exactly.
Isn't Dracula Hungarian?
No, they are Transylvania.
Oh,
Transylvania. Okay.
Yeah, like you know that was a real person, by the way.
What?
Yeah, it was a real person.
Count Dracula.
Yeah, he I forget the name of the guy, but he was like just like a sadistic guy. And
Paul from Czechoslovakia.
Right.
Okay. Choose a mode of travel. Train. The horses are back. Horses are back. Fancy car. Boat. Plane.
Train.
Same.
Train.
I love me a train. It's the only mode of transportation I can sleep on.
Yeah.
And there's leg room.
Train is amazing. Train is amazing. Like, it's not so great for short. Like for me, it's like short is like you have to go through too much. But for I love it in Europe. It's like what?
Right.
Like, I just went through 5 countries.
Yeah. Best train trip in Europe.
Best train
trip in Europe.
I would say Geneva, Paris.
Yeah, that's what I haven't been on that one, but there's a friend of mine who does that whole thing regularly, and she sent me just these videos of the fucking Alps and I was just like, wow.
That one's like it's like
slaps.
Yeah, I was dog tired from the show before, but I was like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then internet.
Yeah.
And then
there's internet and there's like, it's comfortable.
The little Swiss chocolates and then the gourmet lunch and then come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I did the Milan-Nice one a couple of times. It's a 4-hour trip from Milan to Nice, and you do that whole like that whole Porticino, like Portofino,
Okay,
like
okay, okay, okay.
the Côte d'Azur, that whole. I mean, come on. This is
Yeah,
a
train,
privileged
train.
ass fucking conversation.
Askis,
No,
askis.
okay. Park station.
Park Station. No, well, you know what? You know what? I have a lot of reverence for Metro Rail because when I used to go to the club, I used to stay in Centurion, and there was a station there called a sports park station, and the idea that I could just walk 5 minutes to a train station, and an hour later I'm in the biggest city in Southern Africa.
Right.
And then in the harbor, I can go do my little club thing, and then if I'm there before 7:30, I take a train back, and it drops me off 5 minutes from home. I used to, and Yvonne, People of the Light, all of them were written in that train.
Right. Okay. So,
In
all right.
fact,
Yeah.
It don't take a rocket scientist to get to the moon. I was looking at a full moon
You joking?
from the train. Yeah.
It don't take a rocket scientist to get to the moon.
Yeah. I was looking at a moon from
I'll be
the
coming
train
home
station.
soon. What?
I'll be coming home soon. Like,
okay.
literally in Metro. So I have a lot of reference for Metro Rail, and I paid nothing.
Okay. Listen, I mean, and I was saying this literally to the Rail Society the other day, and the Gautrain, which like has basically been because my family are all in Pretoria still, and I'm down the road from the Gautrain here. I'm up and down on that thing all the time. I don't like
I
it.
hate
Is
the Gautrain.
I love the Gautrain. I love the Gautrain. In comparison to the late night train from Manhattan to Brooklyn, can we just?
I got you.
Can we just?
I got you. I understand.
I
just hate the no chewing gum, no this. It's
yes,
like
and the reason there's no chewing gum, look how good that train still looks and what good nick it's in 10 years later.
Yeah, but you
14
can't
years
have,
later.
you can't have a security guard talk to an adult and say, don't chew gum. Echo, as in, like, I'm dumb, I'm old, I'm even older than you. You're telling me don't chew gum. Tech. Like, what do you think this is? Of course I'm not going to. In fact, I mean, look.
Sure, Malume to me, like.
I was once in an elevator, and in a friend of mine's amazing spot, and there was a chocolate wrapper in the elevator on the floor. And I was like, this is the first signs that there's roaches living here.
That is what I'm saying.
Bastards living here.
Yes, exactly. Litter. Like,
how would you litter in this elevator? Why would you just do this, man?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, but
exactly. So the fact that there's no litter, there's no gum on the seats.
But you can't enforce. You can't do that with you. Have you been to Kigali?
No.
Kigali is the cleanest city.
Oh, Rwanda! Don't they have like a every 2 weeks Saturday the whole country gets together and cleans? Or what's the cleanest city in the world or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's that benign.
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, like, at one point in that city, there were 100 bodies in any given street.
Oh.
You feel me? I
think so it's a reaction. It's a reaction.
I think it has something to do with that. I think there's something about that you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so when I look at that and I'm like, yo, we're in a shanty town and it's clean. It's clean. We were struggling to find litter anywhere. We're like, yo, this is amazing. But something felt like, hey, when you go to the museum and you see the skulls and the stories, you go, yeah, no, this one feels deep. This one doesn't feel. And I'm just saying, like, whatever that is, that's a heavy thing. But again, you can't enforce cleanliness, man.
Well, it's effective.
Yeah,
it's effective.
I
Whatever
suppose,
it is, it's working.
I suppose. Good for them.
Yeah.
But I ain't going on that. I'm not. I don't live in Nazi Germany. You don't tell me I can't chew gum in the train.
You are Tecumseh. Okay, a Native American chief Tecumseh When you speak, people listen. Tecumseh, a member of the Shawnee tribe who lived in the Ohio Valley region during the late 1700s and early 1800s, is most famous for standing up to American settlers who were trying to take his tribe's land. A powerful speaker convinced Native Americans to join him in his fight. Okay, I see that. Also, you're excellent at using your public speaking skills to persuade others to join you. Okay, whether it's a local protest or call for improvements at home or school. Wow.
Well, is this the result?
This is the result. This is the result of your answers.
I'm no Tecumseh. What do you mean? I ain't this nigga. Yo, why am I Tecumseh? Why I gotta be? Wait,
I thought you was an Indian.
What I want to know is what the fuck happened to Tecumseh? Because if Tecumseh got beheaded and spent the rest of his life in jail somewhere in Ohio, fuck Tecumseh, son. I ain't trying to be Tecumseh, I ain't trying to be Biko, I ain't trying to be none of them dudes. I'm like, nah.
No, I'm Tumi volume.
Yeah, I'm trying to be Tokyo Sehwa.
Yeah. Living in Houghton, fam.
Yo, I mourn my guy who got shot, but I'm like, yo, I smoke cigars on weekend. That's what I'm trying to be. Tecumseh, I less, mama.
Great. Okay. Fine. This is not who you are. This is not. I am not that. Listen.
Look, I guess it's a code. It's a code.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for your reaction. I mean, I'm here for your reaction, friend. Thank you.
I love you, Nina. I love you, Nina.
Too.
Salute. I hope you help people. You know, just like a little bit of self-awareness. A little bit of self-awareness goes a long way. I think it's just, hopefully once you know better, you attempt to,
Listen, okay, so I want to touch on what you said about, Kigali being a reaction to this whole thing. So, a lot of people are like, Nina, how can you just not drink? And I'm like, well, the stakes were so high for me to have to change. Some people will drink forever, but the stakes aren't high enough for them to need to change. So the stakes aren't necessarily high enough in Sandton or Johannesburg for people to want to make it the cleanest city in the world, because it's not that bad. But when you're saying there's 100 bodies on the floor and the stakes are high. The stakes are high, so stakes is high.
The stakes is high. Funny when you say that, there's I forget what it's called, but it's this little paradox that says the more messed up your life is, the better the chances of
your
you,
survival.
Yes, because you have to make a decision. You have to change. The stakes are high. But you could be in a messed up relationship. That's it's messed up. It's toxic. But it's not life threatening.
Right.
It's not, you know what I mean? And you guys can kind of just survive in that thing. It's not healthy. It's not you guys are kind of going to mess up your kids, but it's not. But if there's heavy, someone is, you have to make a decision, then it's better for you to be in a worse off situation. And I feel sometimes South Africa is like that, where it's it's fucked up, but it's all right.
Yeah.
You feel me? That thing is
all right.
That thing.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's dangerous.
That's the messed up thing. Is because I can see it in some of my, family and some of the relationships where you're when you're far removed, you go into the thing and you go, hi, man, this is not normal. This is not, nah, man, it's all right. Or when someone comes to your place and they're like, there's that door you didn't fix. There's that window you didn't. And then, and they those things accumulate. For you, it's just it's home, whatever. I found a fix for this. But when someone walks in and they see 4 or 5 things, they're like, this one is...
Yeah, dude, literally just had this thing. I had the light switch fixed. There was masking tape on the balcony. The one toilet seat wasn't working properly. The air, and I was this was me last month. I was not fuck. Everything will be fixed in this house. I do not live because you get accustomed to it. So I had a hard and fast rule. If something happened to my car, if there was a dent on it today, fix today. Like, no matter what you've got to do, because you get accustomed to things being just a little bit fucked up.
This is true. I got a friend who's like that, who's just like, immediately, hey, fix now. Now.
And I'm like that with my problems as well.
Okay.
I don't avoid them. I go, I am fucking devastatingly heartbroken about this thing. I'm going to feel all my feelings about it. And everyone's like, it's not that deep. It's just a situation. Bro, I need to feel all my feelings, because if I don't do that now, I'm going to avoid it and land up just repeating the same shit forever or whatever it is. So it takes an enormous amount of courage. It takes principle. My principle is, if it gets broken today, I fix it tomorrow. And sticking by that principle. So you've just got to figure out what your principles are. I think that's the thing. But that's really hard, because it kind of takes time to self-reflect and figure that shit out. Or you could just, take a National Geographic kids quiz and figure out. Tumi.
Madam.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Oaks, ladies, gentlemen, however you identify, aliens, whatever. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Otherwise You Well.
Otherwise
You well? Nice.